So you're wondering what the purpose of the activity was, right? Okay. So the purpose of the activity is really to show you that your fears, they're all in your head. I can bet you that maybe that person guessed probably 2 or probably 1. If that person is a lucky guesser, okay, they guessed probably 3 fears, right? But there are some fears. There must be one fear that the person did not guess. And you know why that is? Because that fear is yours. It's all in your head. It's literally all in your head. And it comes from the whole thing about if you make a mistake, nobody needs to know that you made a mistake because they don't know your content anyway. They didn't know what you planned to say. So you compensate really quickly, recover really quickly, and just get on with it. Don't apologize, don't stutter, just move on really quickly. And I want you to realize that the list of fears that you have, I want you to just crumple it up and put it in your pocket, put it in your book, put it in your bag, and just keep it, because that list of fears, that's yours. That's yours to know. That's nobody's to know. That's nobody's business. None at all. It's your business. You know your fears, right? You know your fears and everything. You know your tells when you're nervous. When I'm nervous, my heart gets, beating really quickly. But nobody else needs to know about that, right? So I want you to just really crumple it and just keep it in the back of your mind about your fears. And I want you to realize that when you're speaking in public, from the other person's perspective, the other person's list, you have to realize that other persons have fears too. So you're not in a vacuum. You're not the only one who gets nervous or scared when they're asked to speak in public, especially even virtually when they have to speak to a non-existing audience. You have to realize that you're very much human, but some things are to be said and some things are to be kept silent, and your fears is one of them. So I really want you to really be cognizant of your fears so that you can dispel them, so that you can use them to work in your favor. And that was the whole essence of the example that I gave you. Well, the activity that I gave you, so that you can face your fears head on. And that is the first step about public speaking in the virtual space. You really need to face your fears head on, get it out of the way, get it on the table so that it can be out of the way, so that you can do your thing. Yeah? Okay, so let's get right into the lesson that I have planned for you. So I really want to offer some tips for public speaking in the virtual space, and I may refer every now and then to the comparison of speaking face to face. So let me just go right into the tip. You have to know your audience. So it's really different from speaking face to face, because you don't necessarily get to see that chuckle, you don't necessarily get to hear the laughter, you don't get to see the attention waning, the yawn, you don't get to see all of those tells. So you have to do your research to find out, what is my audience like? What would they be interested in? You're basically acting blind. And right now is just a great example of me acting blind. I don't know who you are. I cannot see you, but I know that you're here to learn about public speaking in the virtual space. I know that you're here to learn from somebody who is an expert at public speaking in the virtual space, to give you tips on public speaking in the virtual space. That's literally all I need to know about you. I also know that you are interns, that you're students. That means that you don't necessarily want somebody to dictate to you for 1 hour and 20 minutes. I would not want somebody to dictate to me for 1 hour and 20 minutes, right? Especially since I'm not getting your feedback and you're not asking me questions and I'm not asking you questions and the conversation is not flowing. It's just a one-way dictatorship going on here. So I know that I need to keep this sweet, short, spicy, relatable, right? And I need to, speak up a little bit and deal with my intonation a little bit and be more expressive a little bit, so that the awkwardness of the video, the virtual video, is somewhat broken just by my personality and how I'm engaging you. So you have to know your audience, because you won't see the cues and you won't know what is impacting. So you have to definitely do some research and know your audience. Be prepared. So that definitely ties into knowing your audience. But I want the preparation that you do for a virtual space is much different than you would do for a live space, because you're preparing for technical difficulties. Now, virtual space is Zoom or YouTube or me speaking to you right now. And I really want to let you know that, usually persons would be doing, mic checks and everything. But in the virtual space, it's up to you. You're the one handling the equipment. You are the one who has everything lined up. Hold on. I want to fly that. Okay, that was a fly, and I really want to tie it into the next point alright, let's hold that point. That was a fly, okay? So in the point of being prepared, you want to be prepared for technical difficulties. It's now your responsibility to ensure that your equipment is working. You have to be prepared to pause when you see faces are freezing, because obviously there's some internet connection, there's some difficulties with the internet connectivity, and you need to know when you are breaking, when they are breaking. So you need to make provisions for the time that will take in your speech. So you have to be prepared for little nuances like those, those annoying little technical. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? You have to make provisions for that. So be prepared not to be flustered, not to be distracted by this, but work through it. I want to skip to the point of the fly. No, I'm here speaking to you, and this fly that has no behavior whatsoever decided to enter my space. And now I am somebody who definitely has to kill the fly. No, those persons who are like, oh, it's a fly. I'm that person that see the flies and I'm like, dead. So now I took out my shoes to actually kill the fly. Let me hide the shoes so that it don't really distracting. You know what the lesson is? Are you guessing? The lesson is set up yourself in a non-distracting environment. You don't want to be at a disadvantage where you're presenting and you hear sounds in the background. You hear flies in the background. You understand? You hear baby crying. You hear somebody shouting your name, come for dinner. You get what I'm saying? The food ready yet? The pot on the fire? You don't want all of those things. So you need to be in a room where you are the only one. I have a baby. And she's upstairs right now and she's sleeping. I'm monitoring her on my she's up. I'm monitoring her right now on my baby monitor, but I could not present to you having her because she is so distracting. By the way, let me just insert a plug. You can go and visit zbMOMologue on YouTube and Instagram for more content on her. And wait, when you watch the videos, you will see how distracting she is. So I definitely could not do this recording with her. So it's just about setting up yourself in an environment that is not distracting, because you'll be distracted by the technical difficulties, the message fatigue that is going on. There's something called Zoom fatigue, right? you'll be distracted by persons actually looking in their phones and, you know, seeing the best angle for the pictures. So you don't want the distraction to be internal. External distractions you can't control, but the internal ones you definitely can. So you really need to be in a room that is not distracting so that you can really focus on what you're doing. The next thing that ties into the fly is to dress fully. Now, I know with Zoom and virtual interviews, persons seem to, you know, dress from the torso up. Now, that makes literally no sense because it constricts you. You're already constricted by this virtual screen that you need to be around. You don't need to be constricted by the other things. Now, if I was in my pajamas, yeah, and I saw the fly, I would have had to edit out that part of the video so that you could not see my pajamas, my pajayjays, right? And I would be like, oh, it's a fly that? And be barely moving because I don't want you to see the bottom down. But where you don't know what will come up, you don't know which distractions, you don't know if suddenly your camera will be like low battery and you have to go find the charger and plug it in, and persons will see you moving. So you have to be in a position where you're comfortable enough to move. You know, you don't have to be worrying about, you know, person seeing the bottom of you that isn't appropriate to be seen. So you need to dress fully so that whichever distractions that you face is external and not internal. You have to control the factors that you can control, and one of them is dressing from top to bottom. It also gets you in the frame of mind. The frame of mind that this is a professional setting. I need to definitely look professional, dress professional. It's all about the look and the feel so that you can project, okay? And it builds your confidence as well.